Welcome to this webinar on a successful pathway to a career in chemistry. On behalf of SLAAS Section E2, I warmly welcome all of you to this first webinar of a series of webinars that we are planning to organize in terms of inspiring the next generation of scientists of our country. As the pioneering institute of science in Sri Lanka, the Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science, we believe that we have a huge responsibility in aspiring the future generation of scientists of our country, especially because there is a huge potential and it is definitely something that we need to look up to. So therefore, being really optimistic in terms of the future of our country, we want to inspire the future generation of our country. And as part of this obligation and as part of this responsibility, we are hoping to organize a series of webinars titled as The Pathway to a Successful Career in Chemistry, focusing on all the chemistry-related undergraduates of our country. And I'm happy to see that we have a large gathering of undergraduates, probably from across from the different public as well as private universities. So we hope to continue this process throughout the year. As I mentioned, we will be having a series of webinars of the same nature to inspire and give you the appropriate guidance in order to aspire for you to reach the heights which you can achieve. And to start off the series of webinars, we have invited a very special person today. It is none other than Professor K.M. Nalin de Silva, a well-known figure who needs no further introduction, and we very strongly believe that he's the perfect candidate to start off this series of webinars, because just like you and me, he is one of the very proud products of our country. He has achieved everything that he has envisioned in a very short time span, in a very, very wonderful way. So therefore, we believe that he is one of the very prominent figures in Sri Lanka right now, and he's the perfect person to start off this series of webinars, as I mentioned to you. So without further ado, now it is my privilege to invite Dr. Laksiri Veerasinghe to introduce the speaker, Professor Nalin de Silva. Over to you, Dr. Laksiri.
Thank you, Dr. Lahiro. As Dr. Lahiro says, it's a privilege to introduce today's speaker today. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Nalin de Silva to the first webinar series on pathways to successful career in chemistry. In today's webinar, we are asking this key question, like every undergraduate having, what comes next? So we've been asking this question these days in a different perspective, but today, with respect to your career, we are asking that question. So let me introduce you the speaker today. Professor Nalin de Silva is a chair senior professor in chemistry, as well as head of the Department of Chemistry, University of Colombo. Professor de Silva received his BSc honors degree with a first class honors from the University of Colombo. Then he moved to UK and obtained his PhD from the prestigious University of Cambridge, UK. Upon receiving his PhD, he returned to Sri Lanka, joined the department, and within 6 years, just 6 years, he became the professor of chemistry, the Department of Chemistry. He's a very good scientist. He has trained many undergraduate as well as graduate students. Currently, he has more than 80 index publications under his belt with many prestigious awards, and he has secured many grants for his research work with the contribution of many foreign collaborators. In addition to academia, he served immensely to the Sri Lankan industry. He has many positions as a consultant with the different industrial sectors. Notably, I would say his contribution to Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology as a science team leader for 7 years is notable to Sri Lankan industrial contribution. So The main reason we invited to this talk, as Dr. Lahiru mentions, like he's a wonderful human being. He has this unique way of motivating people to achieve their best. So without further ado, let me invite you, Professor Nalin de Silva, for your talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Laksiri. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Laksiri, for the kind introduction, and also Lahiru for inviting me. Lahiru is the SLAAS Section E2 president this year, and I'm very happy. Lahiru, you're doing great, and Laksiri, and both of you were my students, and today it's privileged to be here to talk on this topic. And most of the audience is, I think, my students, the University of Colombo or elsewhere. Either they have achieved, some are maybe professors now, some are senior lecturers, and I'm very happy. But some of you have heard these things, because I used to tell all of some of these things, like Lahiru and Laksiri mentioned, that I used to motivate people in my lectures also, because that is very important. So there is no secret formula for success. I will probably give you a comprehensive introduction, and then build upon to give you some tips. But having said that, it is a unique thing. Whatever I have achieved, it will not be possible for other people to achieve, because we have to be ourselves first, and the sky is the limit if you follow some tips that I give in this presentation. I'll share. Can you see my presentation? I'll go to the presentation mode. Can you see my presentation, Lahiru?
Yes, sir, we can see it, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We
yeah.
can see.
The topic given to me is pathway to a successful career in chemistry. Okay. Laksiri kindly introduced me. Laksiri called me and asked me give me I told him that, I mean, enough. I mean, introduce me my first degree, second degree, and that is enough. I mean, the people know about me, and I will talk about that later, the personal branding and so on, and finite and infinite thinking also I will touch upon at the later part of my presentation. So chemistry is, I happen to be a chemist. I don't know, some people don't like chemistry, but fortunately all of you are related to chemistry today. That's a passion, it's very important. I will give you some hints on that also. For you to become very successful, it has to be, you have to be passionate about what you do in any aspect. So chemistry is everywhere. Just to tell you, it's very important for us. And I'm giving you this these slides because you may be, I don't know whether you are recording, Lahiru. Some people requested the recording. I don't know. That's why I have decided to put some slides here in case if you record it. Yeah. So it's very important. And the chemists play a major role in, some people say chemistry is the central science. I don't agree 100% on that. But having said that, chemistry play a major role in most of the disciplines. Without your basic chemistry, you cannot achieve anything. For example, you take the biochemistry or molecular biology, and even the plant science, and you need to know your basic chemistry for you to become very successful in other disciplines. I will focus on mainly on chemistry and related disciplines. Not only chemistry, biochemistry, molecular biology, and other pharmacy, and the computational chemistry, all these things. But the most of the tips that I give you today is applicable to any discipline. It's not only chemistry. Now, how to become successful in chemistry chemistry is only a part of the equation. That's a tiny bit that I'm talking about. You can be an excellent chemist, excellent graduate student, or excellent undergraduate, hoping to get a first class with 4 GPA, but that's one part of the equation. There is a whole heap of things that you have to put together, like the jigsaw puzzle, where you want to become a very successful chemist. And a little bit on chemistry, I will probably, because that to make you an interest rather than giving you the tips and the pathways and so on. Chemists do very wonderful things. We have heard about Professor AP de Silva and making wonderful things, logic gates, chemical computing, and all kind of things. You turn around with your chemistry knowledge. You convert into amazing things. Yeah, that's the role of a chemist. Yeah. Some chemists work on cancer research, and some are working on solar cell research. Some are working on protecting ozone layers. So there is a whole heap of areas that you can talk about. Yeah. So in all of these areas, there are various. Now, we used to learn chemistry like now as a professor of chemistry and the chair professor of chemistry. There is only one chair in the department. I like that, not because of that I have the chair, because the chemistry we used to have that, we used to study. We study like inorganic, organic, physical, and organic, biological side. And people tend to put into boxes and learn, now present day context, especially in related to the nanotechnology. If you say you are only good at physical chemistry and I don't like organic chemistry, your chances for success is very, very limited. That I have to tell you upfront. So it's chemistry, all interrelated. For example, you take an organic chemist. How can an organic chemist explains the reaction mechanisms and other aspects without knowing the fundamentals of thermodynamics and fundamentals of chemical kinetics? You can't. So that's very important. So if you look at the biological side, you take the molecular biology or the biochemist, how do you explain the functioning of a cell without understanding the free energy concepts and the kinetics and so on? And no one can do anything if you don't understand the spectroscopy. If you don't understand the symmetry in chemistry, you don't understand the crystallography, other things. So you can see these are all connected to each other. So therefore, it's very important that we don't put into boxes. That I really don't like that you put in boxes and learn. So there are people who are really wonderful chemists in the world. Because of them, we are very thankful for them. We are wearing nice clothes, and and we are having basically our facilities are mostly by the chemists and the chemical engineers. And also chemistry. It will not only open up pathways to chemistry only, because my batchmate, he ended up in a top position in a private sector. There are a lot of chemists who work in the private sector, not related to chemistry, but chemistry opens up, many career pathways. That's what I say. The people who do chemistry as a subject is, very lucky, because the skills that I'm going to talk about latter part of my presentation will be very useful, and all you gained through a program related to chemistry, because the chemistry involves the practical side and also the research, and those aspects, even though you take it like you take the first year practical or second year practical chemistry, the skill set that you're going to develop, that is very useful when you come up in the ladder. I will connect it. Unfortunately, some things I have to connect to my life. That is not to brag myself, but to connect that and tell you how I achieved, and that will extrapolate your career as well. So this I'm sure I don't have to summarize medicines, You take the plastics to paints to fabrics, cosmetics, all chemists play a major role in every aspect. These are the 5 technologies that will shape up the planet. So the planet is going to be a very, very scary place. I will tell you bluntly, most of the people in this planet are going to be unemployed in the future. You know, that is going to happen because of the invent of these technologies, biotechnology, nanotechnology, especially material science, artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things. These are very drastically improving areas where next 25 years, you know, if you remember 20 years ago when the machines came to our life, you know, we thought a lot of people lost their jobs here. But in the future, you know, the smart people will be lucky to find jobs in the future. Because, you know, when the artificial AI, robotics, and IoTs replace the human being, you know, you are going to be redundant. Your degree is going to be redundant in the future unless you are really, really smart. You know, that is very important. You can find a simple living, but that doesn't mean that you are content with that and you are happy in your career. So it's very, 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 very you know, fascinating. At the same time, I'm sure you have listened to the talks by Simon Sinek. I have taken some quotes from him when I talk about the finite and infinite personalities. And also, if you look at the Elon Musk, how ambitious he is, and he is planning to go to the Mars, and you know, the wealth he created through the science and technology is absolutely remarkable to even think of a scientist like us. You know, why is that? I will tell you a lot of traits about not him for you to inculcate, for you to become very successful in science or the chemistry in general. So if you look at now the wealth created by Elon Musk, you know, he bought $44 billion last week, Twitter. You know, we are, as a country, we are struggling to find out $4 billion for our survival. At the same time, one person buys a big company for $44 billion. You can see the wealth created by nothing else. It's his science, technology, and his vision, and his dreams about future, that I will talk about that in pathways and visioning yourself. So everybody thinks that you know, Elon Musk is a alien, probably. You know, he thinks differently. So that is where you stand out among the rest of the world. Yeah. So that I will give you some tips here. So these are the problems that I think I took this slide from Rohini. Yeah. So this is a presentation that she gives for related to nanotechnology. These are the major problems that we will encounter in the future. The chemist can play a major role in these 5 areas. Look at the cheap and clean energy, how the country like us struggling. I have to mention about few things not related to my talk, but the cheap and clean energy. Professor Gamin Rajapaksha also recently wrote in Facebook about this, because I was doing some energy research, and Gamini also doing research. So we have been telling this country, we have to invest on the cheap and clean energy. And the solar is the solution for Sri Lanka. But I really don't know why that we are struggling with the fossil fuels. A country with 70% of the time is flooded with sunlight. We can easily convert, we can easily use our solar energy to solve the energy crisis. But the capital investment is huge, but there is no recurrent as envisaged in other technologies like the fossil fuel, like, you know, the petroleum or the diesel or the coal. We have to continuously bring these things, but this is a one-time investment and the maintenance cost is very less. The price for the silicon chips, the silicon wafer used in semiconductor technology related to energy is going down drastically, exponentially going down. The solar cells are going to be cheaper. Those days, a house required about 1.5 million rupees to get the solar power. Now it's about 5 to 6 lakhs. Now I don't know, at this time 6 to 7 lakhs you can easily 3.3 unit you can. So the prices have gone down. I really don't understand that why we have plenty of lakes, we can go for the floating solar, and a lot of roofs are there. For example, you take the chemistry department. Chemistry department is identified as the real location for solar energy, because our roof, if you put it solar power, solar panels, we are absolutely self-sufficient in this context. So this is out of my talk. This is just to give you how we move, and we are just crying now without energy. We are in queues for petroleum. Luckily there was a power cut, just finished 3:30 before this talk. So you can see, but it's unfortunate. We are blessed with the sunlight, but we are just looking at the sun and without any solution for us. But the solutions are with scientists, proper scientists, and we are there to give those solutions if somebody needs our recommendations. What jobs do chemists do? I mean, this is a pertinent question that everyone asks. If my undergraduates ask, so what we can do after getting the degree, you can do anything. Yes, so don't worry. If you look at the A-level in science, if you have A-level in science, you can become a technician. BSc, MSc in chemistry, you can become a researcher, industry, or academia, teacher. I remember that BSc, a teacher is the main. Teacher plays a major role. For example, if you look at the universities, the lecturers play a major role in developing our students. It's a noble profession. Teacher, sadly, teaching positions these days, the best of the best goes abroad. The other lot joins the industry, and the last lot, because of the society, has created a situation where the teachers are not recognized as a prominent cross-section of the society. There are 2 or 3, I will not mention, 2 or 3 glamorous positions in this country, but all other things the people think. So inevitably, the parents are trying to achieve the glamorous professions like a doctor or an engineer. My due respect for those professions, but everyone cannot become doctor. Everyone cannot become an engineer. So the teaching position is the teacher is the most important thing. If you look at the US or the Scandinavian countries, where the teacher is the most important position in the development framework. But unfortunately, we give the last preference for teaching. So inevitably, teaching has become poor because we cannot absorb the cream to the teaching positions in schools. But luckily, the academia, the universities, we managed to attract the best out of the best for our academic positions. So PhD in chemistry, you can go up to PhD in chemistry research, industry or academia, postdoctoral positions, industrial researcher or academic researcher. The limit is sky. And then you can go to an industrial researcher like the group leader or the team leader. Like I worked in Slintech as a science team leader for 7 years. It's a industrial, it's a private sector setting kind of company. So then the lecturer in chemistry, senior lecturer, professor, chair professor, or then you have the administrative roles like the head of the department or the dean or the vice chancellor or all kind of things. You can, the director, central directors, and all these are all in your package. So it's you can see you have a huge package, and now you have to see where do I want to fit in this package. So 25 minutes gone now. I will get into that and explain you a little bit on just this image, to show that how the drug discovery things work from plants to drugs. And then if you look at it, goes to the chemical engineers play a huge role. And having said that, we have some chemists now in US working as chemical engineers, so you can easily convert that with special training on. So because chemistry, the chemist working with a chemical engineer will give you the products, because the chemist, because we worked at Slentech, we work with chemical engineers, because we know one example for the younger generation. If you do a synthesis in 1 gram in laboratory scale, you have a stirrer and a hot plate, some amount of energy is given, so you convert A to B. But if you scale up that to 1 ton level, if you want to do that, a chemist cannot do that one. You need a chemical engineer. You just multiply the reagents and you get stuck, and the energy conversions and the other things without a chemical engineer. So the chemical and process engineer is very essential for us. That is why the chemical and process engineering plays a huge role in the development of any given any country. So if you look at the Formula 1 car, I'm just fascinated about the Formula 1 car. I just follow these very closely. If you look at it's a really a product of chemistry and chemical engineering. The materials. Ayrton Senna died in a crash 2003 or somewhere, I can't remember, 1998. I can't remember, because of the now it's a carbon fiber, carbon nanotubes. All these are very reinforced. For example, let me take my pointer. So if you look at here, you can see these are stronger than steel. These are lightweight material. So these are the miracles of the materials engineering. So the driver's head is protected from this unit. If you look at the metal supports and engine components, rubber, paints, plastics, fuel, carbon fiber fuel, also the modified fuel they use to get the more power to the engine. So you can see it's really a fascinating machine, can go up to 300 to 400, 350 kilometers per hour without any problem. These days we can't drive fast because we have to look at the RPM and drive these days because of the fuel crisis. Right. Why a degree in chemistry or related discipline? You get, as I told you, you get a real training. Training is very important. That is why I always tell the younger generation here, when you do practical, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, we build up nicely about how we develop this skill set. Some people I know, some people, I tell my lecturers also, don't just waste time in people whether they are doing properly, because we are adults now. We just the senior lecturer or the professor supervisors, and the demonstrators, assistant lecturers are there to help. At the same time, there are people who just do things just the sake of doing it. Those people are going to be utter failures in the future, because the training that we envisaged from this program, you will see the skill set. It is very important that in your life, versatility, flexibility in a changing world. These are two key ingredients. You have to be versatile, you have to be flexible, adapting yourself to the situation. I will give you some example also. And then job security, promotion prospects and so on. I don't think chemists are unemployed. All chemists, either first class or just ordinary past, all are employed. So you have the job security with chemistry. Travel, if you have the option to go to PhD. I'm not promoting you to go to PhD, but if you go to PhD, we give recommendations. But this talk, I will not promote that you to go to greener pastures and do it. But it is up to you to decide. Meet people, work in a professional team. Chemists are real team players. Scientific and technological challenges and social values, helping society, responsibility, all these things are very important, right? So if you look at if somebody asks me where do chemists work, I can tell you everywhere the chemists are there. Even the finance sector, there are chemists. Bank managers, there are chemists. CEOs, general managers, company chairman, there are a lot of people who are first degree is chemistry, So this is the slide that employment sectors that you can touch if you have a chemistry degree, chemistry or related biochemistry, molecular biology, also same thing. So now let's focus on the pathway. What is a pathway? Pathway is a sequence of courses or subjects within the area of interest. Now that's very important. The topic says a pathway to a successful chemist. Pathway is very important. I had a wish when I was in the school. I'm from Nalanda. I wanted to become a chemist. I loved only chemistry. Other things I did it because I had to pass the 4 subjects and come to university. But my main subject was chemistry. And when it comes to the university, this pathway, this is a generalized term. Pathway is where a general science you can put. Like my initial pathway was chemistry, and then went to the physical chemistry, and then the material science, and so on. Those are the pathways. So the pathway connects from school to university for a specific degree or a career, and selecting a correct pathway is very important. Of course, you can change the pathway later, but it is very important that you select the pathway at the initial part of your career. I'm addressing this as a career, not as a job. There is a difference between a job and a career. Job is you do a job today, you get into another job, you do it. But the career connects. Your first experience matters to the latter stage of your life. So it connects. That is very important. You get the connectivity is very important for you to become successful. If it is not connected like a chain, you are here and there, all bits and pieces, like a jigsaw puzzle, you cannot put these things together. So it is very critical that you have a proper pathway. So as undergraduates are joining this program, my talk mostly, career options that you have to know. This is not a forum. I can't touch upon all the aspects on career options. Then learn how to package yourself. It is very important, packaging. Everything that you buy it, by looking at the package. What is your package? That is where I last slide I have something called the personal branding. That is the high scale of the packaging. Learn how to package yourself. Identify values and mentors. You want to package yourself, you identify a mentor. You need a mentor. You need opportunities. When I have a problem, I always go to Professor A.P. de Silva. I write to him and I ask him. That's the advice that I get. So you must have 1 or 2 mentors who can be trusted to give you a real opinion in your life. Learn which activity is likely lead to academic advancement. It is very important that this aspect is very important. You don't accept all the invitation that you get. You select which things are going to advance yourself. This talk, when Lairu and Laksiri approached me, asked me, I willingly accepted, then because this can be, I can make an impact on some young minds. There are some talks that I'm invited to give some forum. I normally don't accept talks these days because I think it's a useless talking to people and hours and hours, and it will not add anything to my life. It's very important which activities likely lead to academic advancement. It is very important. Plan your career path for next several years. That's very important. You have to plan for next several years. That comes through something called the spatial intelligence that I will visioning is very important. I talked about Elon Musk, his vision. When you have a vision, visioning is very important. You can even listen to many presentations. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a nice presentation on visioning, how he achieved the Mr. World while he was in Austria, and he came to California and achieved the Mr. World 5 consecutive years, how he visioned himself to become the Mr. World. So visioning is very important. You don't have to tell anyone about your vision. You have your vision. What do I visioning means? What do I want to be doing in 5 years, 10 years? What subject should I take? Why should I plan? Why should I study? Ask yourself, why do you study? Do you really like to study, or just because your parents are asking you to study? Yeah. So, and ask yourself, why should I do the degree? How can I make money? That is very important. You need to make money also. You can see now the money has no value. The dollar is yesterday 350, and the rupee is the worst currency in the world. And you need tons and tons of rupees to live in the future. So this is very important, that aspect. Money is not everything, but something. You have to think about that also. Career, when you select the career. This is one aspect. People are less prone to go to less, underpaid jobs, So how do I find a career? It's very important. Before you follow the tips to become a successful chemist, first you find out career. Career means now all of you are in the chemistry related discipline, but within that, where do you want to go? That is very important. Within that, when you go for PhD, you have to write the statement of purpose, and how do you articulate your vision there? Because people who are really advanced in psychology, they read your SOPs. They know whether you have copied from somebody or this is your real vision. They can see how the connectivity, then to get a top-notch university, you need to vision yourself, and that is very important. There are 3 types of people in this planet. Those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who wonder what has happened. You want to become you want to be in the category number 1, those who make things happen. That is very important. You don't put excuses on others. You don't watch others are doing. You make things happen. That is very important. So you have to fit into a place where you can make a change. That is very important. You can be happy yourself. Your people who are around are happy about yourself. So otherwise, if you are a graduate, the undergraduate, when you walk out of the Reed Avenue or the Kumaratunga Munidasa Mawata, you might be wondering, what has happened to me in the last 4 years? Or what has happened to me in the last 19 years after 17 years of free education given to you? Those are the questions that you should not ask when you leave the Colombo University gate. What has happened to me? You can make the change. You are the change. I also believe that this country is not going to be a proper place unless we change ourselves, as a 21 million people. Of course, the politicians have a role to play, and we should chase them if they don't do very well. But having said that, there is a bigger equation on that one. Everyone has a role to play. Everyone has to make things happen. I can see I'm running a department with 85 people. We have all this I know how many people are really working to make the things happen. I know how many people are just supervising other people work. So it's very important. Every category in life, from worker to the president, you will find these three categories. Be in the first category. It's very important. The well-informed decision-making process is very important. It's absolutely very important when you make the decision. Say for example, if you have decided to become a chemist, you have taken the decision. If you want to do a PhD in chemistry, these aspects you have to see. Just because others are doing, you don't do it. You will not be successful in the future. The well-informed decision-making process involves appraise the challenge. You have to really see what is the challenge you have in your hand. When you come to the special degree, now the second year, we have released results and we are now getting our special list down. Some people call me, some people come at me, say, what do I do? So if somebody asks me, I ask him, what do you like to do? What do you want to do? So there is no passion about what you want to do. I can't tell anyone what to do. you have to assess yourself. Next one says the assess yourself. Survey alternatives. Assess yourself is very important. Assessing yourself is very important. Otherwise, when you accept it's true for our academics also. When you accept a position, it's very important. Assess yourself. Can I do this job? Am I capable of doing this job? Just because I'm getting this, I'm just going to do it. Yeah. So that is where you have to, what is the challenge in front of me? Am I suitable? Am I capable? Can I handle this? So it's very important. Assess alternatives, assess survey alternatives. And once you take the decision, commit to the decision. That's very important, that you have it's like, at this stage, you can change your career, but committing to the decision is very important, right? You have to really understand the importance of career decision making. It's very important, otherwise you will not become successful. I'm talking about how to become a successful chemist, but this is where you will turn around the tables. Assume responsibility for the decision, determine time needed to make a choice, potential obstacles, all these things. Once you take a decision, that's it. It's like a flight. The aeroplane coming to the takeoff speed, there is no stopping. You have to take off, either crashing or not. There is no way that you're going to stop it after you achieving the speed of the takeoff speed, like that. Requires honest reflection. Honest reflection, introspection. Introspection means really emotionally you are intelligent to take up a position. Very important. As a head of the department, I know I deal with a lot of people. People are really in trouble sometimes. So what is your emotional intelligence to understand people? Some people are having a lot of problems. Whether you are capable of understanding those problems, it's very important. And imagination, requires coming to terms with your own self-image. It's very important that if you want to become successful in your career, right? Considerations, what I want versus what I want to avoid. I told you earlier also, avoid if you don't like it. Just because somebody in Ali, you become the X person, okay, this I will give you this. If I have the now challenge, I assess the challenge, whether I like it to do what, say no. Yeah, okay, you avoid it. Yeah, it says if somebody gives you something, if you can't say no, just don't say no, because it's very rude to say no. Then you say you will think about it and let you know, and then you find a reason to say no, and later you say because of this reason I don't like to do so. So all is happy, right? So that's how you avoid things that you don't want to get involved with, because I told you anything that you do should add into your personality development. Anything that will not add to your personality development, don't get involved with this one, because you will not have a successful career. Your time is gone, you have nothing achieved, and you will have regrets when you come for retirement. Self versus others, short term versus long term. You need to develop realistic understanding of your strengths and weaknesses in every project that we do. SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats we analyze. So your strengths and weaknesses, very important. You have to be very competitive. I'm talking about competition is very important, but not a real bad competition I'm talking about. I will talk about that in finite and infinite personalities. Infinite people will not compete with the people. They compete with yourself. You compete with yourself. That is where the competition. You come up, you become a better person tomorrow. You need to set realistic targets, So again, to make it very short, I have about 15 minutes, Lairu? 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine, sir.
Okay, no, 1 hour, no? Right?
Yeah, take your time, sir. It's okay.
Right. Okay, but I don't want to get the drag also, I will try to finish it soon. So left brain, right brain combination is very important. You can be very good in education. You can be very good in social aspect. So you have to balance these two aspects. You can't be an extremist. Only education without no social interactions, only social interactions, no education, all going to collapse. You have to balance your left and the right brain combination. These are the four aspects if you want to become successful. I think, I'm very proud of my former students like Lahiru, Laksiri. Now you can see that the present generation, their communication skills are superb. Team players, they work in teams, and practical positive mindset, dress sense is very important, so that is where, it's very important, right? I will not talk about this in detail. Education is one part. You can be a first-class degree holder, but if you don't develop these 7 intelligences, you cannot become a proper leader. 1 or 2 intelligence may not be acceptable to the world of work. Learn all these intelligences if you want to become a leader, mathematical, logical. Quickly, I will go through. Good sense of direction, good at forecasting, observe and sees things which others do not notice. Use charts, diagrams, maps easily, finds roads, places easily. So if you have any of these attributes in yourself, you can be happy that you can visual spatial intelligence. I'll tell you one example: find roads, places and easily, right? There are some students who come to our place. Sometimes, they ask the directions. So we tell, okay, you come through the corridor and there is a by road, then you come. Some people just comes and to our house directly. But some people, even 10 times we tell, they don't come. Sometimes I feel like telling you, wait there, I'll bring my house there. That kind of, that's very important. So, use charts, diagrams, maps easy. This called the good at forecasting is very important. Now the situation at the other department, now, we have to see what is going to happen. I can tell you it's a very, 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 very difficult period for us in the future. Not because of the economic crisis, but that's one crisis, but it's really a difficult time for us, So, it's very important for you to see your direction. I'm talking about your things, how do you forecast your future? So it's your direction. How do you see your direction? It's can I see? Can you see yourself in 4 years? I'm going to be there. So that is what the forecasting means. Musical intelligence is, I'll skip through. That's very important. It's very important that you like music, can play more than one instrument, enjoy sounds of nature, good sense of rhythm and melody, all kind of thing, and sing songs and so on. Those are very important for your intelligence. You remember that. Interpersonal intelligence is very important. Always want to be with people and help them in difficulties. Enjoys teamwork, discussing and cooperating with others, ideas. When you come to the leadership, sometimes there are things that you take decisions, and there are things you collectively take decisions. Some things you have to take decisions that you are responsible for that decision, and you don't need to consult many people on that. So there are various things that you have to, what to consult, what not to consult is the real attribute of a person when you come to a position. If you're going to ask everything from the team, there is no leadership there. So there is the top down, there must be some direction from the leadership, sensitive to others' moods and reactions. It's very important. That is why the retrospection, it's emotional intelligence, interested and understand how others think and feel, involvement in community activities, crack jokes, laugh a lot, because this life is very short. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. Don't have grudges with people. Crack a joke, laugh, and have a pleasant day, and you will see the results in 10 years. Intrapersonal intelligence is very important. That's what how do you control your emotions? You have a lot of bad experiences, a lot of people are there to topple you. There are people, so you don't get perturbed from these things. You control your emotions, you don't fight, and that's can smile, understand your own feelings, and you can develop this through meditation up to some extent. And this is very important. Bodily intelligence, like these people, this kind of people like to deal with problems directly and take control of the problem. You know, you don't ask 1,000 people and you encounter the, you just directly attack the problem and solve the problem. This is very important. So this personality comes through sports, and I'm sure you can, a lot of undergraduates these days, because of the corona, it was told, but now it's slowly moving into that direction. So skills in handling tools, equipment, so that's very important. Enjoy participating in, I'm not talking about the competitive sports. You know, I used to do a lot of competitive sports when I was an undergraduate, you know, but it's not, I'm referring here, you know, recreational sports at least, you know, jogging and, you know, other aspects, rowing or swimming, karate, wushu, martial arts, other things, you know, very important that you to develop the bodily intelligence. You know, linguistic intelligence, I don't have to tell you, you have to be a master in your language, your communication skills have to be developed. It's very important aspect in your career. Mathematical logical intelligence, this is the one everyone has this one. That's why I have put it at the last. You know, respected as a high IQ person, your IQ may be 120, 130, 140, I don't know. Approaches task problems in a logical step-by-step manner, likes to solve puzzles and problems, you know, arranges tasks in a sensible, orderly sequence. All these are very important. That's a part of the equation, remember. 1/7 of the equation for you to become a successful person in your career. And to summarize, personality development plan, be good at playing at least one musical instrument to become successful. You know, career-wise, chemistry, I told you, your plan, your development plan, your career pathway, your subjects that you take, then you end up in that pathway. So all of these skill sets will take you to the top. You know, that's where that's what I think. You know, be good at playing at least one musical instrument, be good dancer, martial arts, master technical, mechanical capabilities, be a good singer or an actor, switch out to exciting hobbies, not like collecting stamps, you know, those are not exciting hobbies. Those are old days hobbies, you know, bungee jumping, scuba diving, that kind of things I'm talking about, right? Cycling, you know. Be a great communicator, presenter, learn languages, be a smiling and fun-loving character, always reached by others for help, involve actively in more than one society, club, association. Remember that these are very important aspects of your life. You know, this is where you can add an impact to your personality. Commence earning while studying, find temporary employment. This is really good for foreign countries. They do. Be a strength to your family. Be ambitious and forecast your future. This is very important. So for you to become a successful chemist, I don't want to tell you a discipline wise you want to become a physical chemist, organic chemist, inorganic chemist. No, that comes to your pathway. You select from school to university, you selected the chemistry pathway. After that, you select the courses that you really like to do, not because your friends are doing. Right, but unfortunately now there are much more optional courses in our chemistry syllabus. We are reviewing that very soon, and you will in future you will have more options in the future, and so you can branch out into different areas in chemistry. So say you get a first class, now it's a end of the story for your academic achievements. Then how to become a successful chemist? These are the things that you have to put together in that basket for you to become a successful chemist. So, you know, that visioning and all these things it comes to research also. When I joined the university in 1998, you know, we didn't have facilities, you know. We used to do some other research, you know, computational chemistry or something like that. So then we slowly build up with our vision, our research groups, and we are now flourishing with but the present generation now, the first year, second year, third year, fourth year students will see a better research environment in the Department of Chemistry or other universities, you know, because of the people who built these systems, you know, other universities as well. You know, the SLAAS is a catalyst for us to develop, you know. So, but let it be like, you know, there are, even you have all the facilities in the world, put it into a room and see whether you become successful chemist. You will not become a successful chemist unless you get motivated and you have a vision to become successful and you collect all these ingredients for you to become successful. You can be successful, right? And finite versus infinite, I think this is my last slide. Finite versus infinite. You know, finite personalities, it's very, very unproductive personalities, because the finite, it leads to a decline in trust, cooperation, and innovation. You try to compete with the other people. That is the finite game. You know, you don't go to the finite game in the future. With yourself, you are other colleagues, you don't go for a finite competition, you know. So we might think that in order for me to succeed, someone else must lose. You know, these are finite personalities, you know. So my progress is independent of the other person. You know, I help the other person, I flourish, you know. So the infinite bring, they have the resilience to thrive in an ever-changing world. That is very important. Ever-changing world. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell these our fourth-year students who are coming, we will not get new chemical orders. We have to live with whatever we have. And how do you going to change yourself? Or you come and tell me, no, sir, I want this chemical to do my research. You know, when we joined in 1998, we didn't have facilities. I was a laser spectroscopist, came here, no facilities. I started computational chemistry in 1998, 2000. And then did about computational chemistry 4 years, then become a material scientist and went to US and got trained and came back as a material scientist for another 2 years, and then material science. You know, so now it's very important. While their competitors fall by the wayside, ultimately those who adopt an infinite mindset are the ones who lead the rest of us into the future. So the infinite mindset is very important. Those people will lead the society. You know, finite players are losers. We have plenty of finite players in the university. We have plenty of finite players in the society. We have plenty of finite players in everywhere. But those are really mediocre personalities. So don't worry about the finite game. Get into the infinite game. Once you get into the infinite game, you don't need anything. You get the personal branding. That is where you have to create your name. You know, people come to you, people approach you. That is where the success is. You know, for example, you say, okay, Dr. Lahiru Vijayanayaka, he's the person who we should approach, or Dr. Laksiri, we should approach for this aspect. People remember, okay, he's a good organic chemist, Laksiri. Lahiru is a material scientist. So people know about that. You know, that is called the personal branding. That comes with the time. It will not be an overnight game. It's a game changer. You know, it will take some time for the personal branding. You know, this is a final example that I will give you. You know, called the resilience. It's very important, the resilience, and you believe in yourself. This is my first paper. I want to tell you, this is SLAAS forum I'm telling you. This paper was the final story. K.S. Tantirivat, my first research student. We sent a paper to Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science in 2002. And it was rejected by SLAAS, saying there is no new knowledge to science. Imagine, that is my first paper. I wrote it in the Facebook also recently to motivate young people. When there is a rejection from the society, from the fellow scientist reviewed my paper and said it is not suitable. It's crap science. There is no new knowledge to science. So it was rejected. My student was crying. I said, son, don't worry. We will write an international paper. We wrote an international paper and it was accepted. And to date, that is the paper, highest cited paper published by me, 444 citations today. You know, imagine the situation. That is the turning point of my life. I'm telling you, there can be turning points in your life like that. You know, a rejection will be an added advantage for you, or turn it into a better place. After that, we had my undergraduate research students next year. I can't remember the order of those students. Dr. Himesh, Dr. Ashani, Dr. Ireshika, Dr. Thilini, who is here, all are Thilini. Oh, I can't remember her name. She's in the E2, yeah, committee, and all of their papers were ultimately got into the international papers from their undergraduate research work. That is where we put the impact. That is the SLAAS in 20 years, 25 years back. Now the SLAAS has changed. Now the younger people have taken over and really good thinking is going on. Now that is why I really like the SLAAS, how it moved forward last 10 years with the younger generation. Now, because the reason is, I'm telling you seriously, there are sciences emerging every day. If you are not up to date, updated, you think a piece of research by a young scientist is a piece of crap. Don't get into that. Please update every day, because there can be young buddies are really clever. These fourth year students, third year students, present generation is really clever. We as teachers, if we don't get updated, we get exposed ourselves to the younger generation. So that is where I know who has reviewed my paper. I have no hard feeling on those people. Good friends, that is where, it's very important. Sympathy you have to give. So therefore, update, resilience, and change yourself. And I'm sure you can be very successful. Keys to success: be proactive, be skillful, take advantage of opportunities, be honest with yourself, be realistic. And advantage and opportunities are very important. You don't get every day, convert into a better position. So therefore, I will, with that, I will wind up. I'm sure all of you will be successful. You have got something out of this. Finally, I would like to thank Laksiri for even calling me and reminding me in the morning. Thank you, Laksiri, for reminding, and Lahiru, E2 President, you are doing a wonderful job, and the E2 committee for endorsing, and the SLAAS General Committee also for approving my talk. And thank you very much, and thank you for all the participants today. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, a delightful presentation as always, sir, and perfect timing, I guess. And sir, as you mentioned, I think the floor is open for questions. So if anyone in the audience has any questions, I'm sure Professor Nalin would be happy to accommodate those questions. So you may post your questions in the chat box, or alternatively, you may unmute yourself and present the question to the audience, or else you may even use the raise hand options and we'll prompt you for the questions. So to start off, maybe I will ask the questions, sir, with your permission.
Of course, yes, Lairu.
So I think you are perfectly on the spot. You said that academic success is not all about getting a 4.0 GPA. Like professionally, it means much more. So to a chemist, as a chemist, to the future chemist, what do you think would be the most important soft skills to acquire? Because personally, I also believe that soft skills have a huge role to play in personal branding and professionalism. So as a chemist, what do you think are the most important soft skills for chemists to acquire?
Sorry, Lairu, I didn't follow your question. Somebody knocked my door. Yeah. So I think the Madam or Ronali. Yeah. You can ask again. Yeah.
That's okay. Sorry about it, sir. Anyways, my question
because I'm occupying Ronali's room. Yeah.
So you spoke about soft skills and its importance in the professional life. I believe that soft skills are very important for chemists in general. What might be the most important soft skills for a chemist to acquire? Because there are many people in our audience today who are looking forward to join the workforce maybe in the next 1 or 2 years time. So therefore, what do you think are the most important soft skills for them to look at?
Thank you, Lairu. I think I can point out to you regarding, your communication skills. It's a soft skill, it's very important. And also the most important one, I think, is the time management. It's the time management. It's really key for success. People ask, for example, other things, forget about other things, the time management and, people say, I don't have time to do it, then, it's not that you don't have time. Your priorities are different, how do you prioritize things, very important. That will come through, come through multiple tasks when you do. For example, like now you do this SLAAS Section E2, you have a lot of work, but that is not an excuse for you to say, after 1 year, I didn't have time to publish a paper. That is a negative point for you, right? So while you are doing this, and at the same time, I'm talking about the multitasking. Multitasking is very important. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tasks at the same time, and you manage those 5 tasks carefully. So those will come through various aspects, like soft skills, like the, involving societies and, working with people, you have time to spend with your friends and laugh and crack a joke. Those are all important, Lairu, So I think it's a difficult question to answer. Yeah.
I'm sure that is. Thank you very much for the answer. I think that perfectly wraps things up. So there's actually one more question in the chat box below, because I believe that most of the people here are in their 3rd year or 4th year of study, or perhaps maybe currently employed but looking to join postgraduate opportunities later. So I think this question comes as a whole from those people. So the question is, I think many people, what they are trying to do is to go abroad to pursue higher studies, to do MScs, MPhils, or even PhDs. They try to look at scholarships to go abroad. But this question is specifically about pursuing higher studies in Sri Lanka. And the question is there any university offering scholarships for master's degree programs in Sri Lanka? So do we have a answer to that question, sir?
I can give you an honest answer. Most of the universities have started MScs. That is one aspect is a revenue generation. Okay, revenue generation. We don't have outright scholarship schemes. Recently, to have that kind of scholarships, people, the university should be rich, like, you must have an endowment to do that, endowment fund or something like that. I started an endowment fund in chemistry recently with a 2 million donation. So that is created to give scholarships to research students, MSc and the PhD students. Harvard endowment is $5 billion bigger than the Sri Lankan economy. Cambridge endowment is bigger than the Sri Lankan economy. That is why they give scholarships, but our university system, we try to survive through the MSc and the MSc money, that is where I can see Manju Gunawardana has joined. Thank you, Manju. I mean, Manju can also participate in that discussion. The funding is critical, and we are thinking in the future, chemistry department especially, that we will give some scholarships for, presently it's very hard to get scholarships because people are really, some programs are just a break even, no profit after the program. Yeah, so you can't give scholarships at the moment.
So I guess that is to say that if you are pursuing a master's degree program in Sri Lanka, the cost will be very minimal. So it's probably.
But having said that, Lairu,
yes.
People spend about a sizable amount of money for A-level tuition. But if you look at a master's degree program, sometimes a master's degree, 2-year master's degree cost about 300,000 rupees.
In Sri Lanka.
In Sri Lanka, it's about 150,000 per year. It costs about 12,000 rupees per month. They have spent more than that for their A-level tuition. Manju, what do you say? So basically, our system is like, we have used the free education, 17 years.
Yes.
That is the reason that, if you look at the Cambridge cost for PhD these days, 44,000 sterling pounds per year. It's enormous. So, but there are scholarships also from Cambridge and Harvard also they give, but they don't give scholarship to poor people. Yes, need-based is there, but they give scholarship to the cream, that you have to understand, So, just because of you are poor, it is not a criteria to get a scholarship in Cambridge, Oxford, or Harvard. It's very important, but our cost for master's programs are, very, very minimum. We have to now revise with this recession. We will have to increase the prices.
So, however, to add to your answer, I think that is not very common when it comes to PhD programs in Sri Lanka. Even in Sri Lanka, most of the PhD programs are funded. If I'm correct.
Yes, there are some professors. There are some students who can be self-funded.
Yes.
Okay, PhD students are paid by a grant and paid by the grant to buy chemicals. At the same time, a rich student, for example, he wants to, but say first class students who has parents have money, he can register for a PhD and he can say, okay, I will pay the 100,000 registration fee, I will pay the bench fee, I will buy my chemicals. There are people who do like that also PhD, But unfortunately, PhD means they think that they want a scholarship. There is no requirement for a scholarship. If your father can fund your PhD, we are happy to accept if the student is good.
Thank you for that answer, sir. And then that's another question in the chat option. The question is about pursuing a first PhD directly after a first degree. So the question is whether or not a person can go to a PhD directly after a BSc, or whether is it a must to have an MSc in the middle?
Generally, it depends on the country. For example, now UK had a system where our 4-year degree is accepted at a master's level kind of thing, So, for example, I got a first class in chemistry, and you also same thing, Lairu, and we started PhD directly after our degree, But if you have a general degree, you need a master's. But even if you don't have a class in your 4-year degree, US universities accept with proper GRE and TOEFL scores. Yeah, so that's not a huge criteria, but it depends on the country. We are very lucky. We used to have, I don't know what will happen in the future, among South Asian countries. Sri Lanka 4-year degree was recognized by many universities in the world equivalent to a master's degree. We got into PhD program with our first degree, 4-year degree. We didn't do a master's. But Indian students, because they have a 3+1 system, they have to do a master's and go to a PhD. So we are very lucky as a country. Our programs are very strong. So there is no need of MSc if you have a 4-year degree with the top GPA. But if you don't have a class, even if you have a TOEFL and GRE good score at good 2 recommendations, there are people who have got good universities. Not good universities, but a reasonable university you can get there. But if you want to for a top-notch university, you have to get a class in your degree and at least a second upper or above. Yes.
Thank you, sir. The next question is doing internal versus external degrees in the same subject at the Colombo University. Does they have the same qualification, or do they have any difference?
I'm going to start external degree in chemistry, applied chemistry. It is now drafted, syllabus all Senate approved. It will come in probably 2023, but it's a 3-year degree. It's not a 4-year degree. There is no research component. There is a group research part. So it's a kind of a 3-year degree. They have to do a master's if they want to go for a PhD. But otherwise, we are catering more to the industry side. But we are giving option for some people to do a master's and go for a PhD. So don't worry about the external degree. Internal degree is a stronger degree. External degree is a 3-year degree, but can lead to a PhD if somebody wants to do it. Yeah. So there is no hindrance. Yeah. But external degree, you have to pay and do it. Internal degree, taxpayers pay.
But so other than the finances, the qualifications will basically be the same in either case.
Yeah, same kind of syllabus. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And the next question, I believe, is a very valid question under the current situation. The question is, with the current economic context, how will the academia and the R&D in the country be affected? Well, I guess it's not a very easy question to answer, sir.
One second, Lairu, 1 second.
Yes. Okay, so while we wait for Nalin to join us again, if there are any other questions from the audience.
Sorry, Lairu, sorry. What you asked was the future of R&D in the country.
R&D as well as academia under the current economic context, sir.
It's a difficult question to answer.
Definitely.
But we have undergone, it's a difficult question to answer, and I don't want to answer in the political sense also. It's not correct in this forum. We have undergone a 30-year war also. We have lived with the war. I think I have a gut feeling, and system will move on. There will be a tough time. Because I'm also now academia, and we also have we got a recent public circular that restricting any kind of expenditure. We can't buy chemicals, also new chemicals. We have to do with the new existing chemicals. There will be a tough time. The whole Sri Lanka is undergoing that tough time, because you know that. But I think Sri Lanka is a blessed country. That will not. The Sri Lanka has the blessings of the Triple Gem and the other religions as well. So we will recover. It will be a tough time for industry also, But academia also, I have recruited Colombo University. If you look at it, I have recruited 5 people. This problem was there for now many months, But some people relocated from Japan and Canada also. They came back to Sri Lanka. So they know the situation, but they came. So that means, I'll give you one advice on this. Don't take this an excuse to leave the country. If you want to leave this country, I might leave, I might not leave. That all depends on what I want to do, right? Not because because the problems are everywhere. One of my friends told me one day, we solve a different set of problems in this country. We go to US and we solve a different set of problems. Life is a set of problems and you solve till you die, So it will be a tough time. Yeah. It's not a laughing time. I'm also seriously thinking how to run the department, very difficult situation. But on that context, I don't want to promote people to, okay, now this is going to be a bad country, leave everyone. No, you can't do that, We will recover, yeah. I think we will recover, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir. And I think that's the perfect answer, because there's a whole lot of negativity all around us right now, unfortunately. But we need to be hopeful. We need to be optimistic, because somehow or other we will rise back again. So I think we need to be hopeful, and we need to look at the future in a very positive sense.
Because, well, Ahiru, as a country, our vibrations are also very important. When all of us create this talk is designed to motivate people, no?
Yes, sir.
I criticize in social media. That's a different story. But this is a forum where we have to, and we can criticize, but we have to be motivated. There are 2 different things. That's very important. So our vibrations, our frequencies are very important to multiply and get a constructive, we talk about in diffractions, constructive interference, like that, it has to be multiplied, it will multiply. Otherwise, when we have all destructive thinking, it will be a negatively impact on the society also, it's very difficult. You can criticize anyone, but you be motivated. Yes. That's very important.
Thank you, sir. And we do have a couple of more questions. I'm not sure if you have time to bear with us to answer.
That's okay. That's okay. Ronali is anxious to get the room. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
So I'll quickly scroll through
Because
the next few questions, sir. The next question is, what is the minimum qualification to be a chemistry lecturer?
I mean, to become a chemistry lecturer, we have different stages. No, we can be a probation lecturer. I absorbed the probation lecturer with the first class in chemistry. And you can be to become a senior lecturer, you need to have a PhD, or without a PhD also, you can be with a MSc, with a research MSc, you can become a senior lecturer grade 2 also. But then you can become a professor also, but you are not a doctor then you don't have a PhD. But there are people who are professors without the PhD. Yeah. That is possible in our system. Yeah. You don't need a PhD to become a professor.
So you may become a lecturer with a MSc or even with a PhD.
Yes, MSc, research MSc, you need a research MSc, and you serve the university as a lecturer and get a research MSc, and then or an MPhil, and then you become a senior lecturer grade 2 with your time, and then become a grade 1, and then you do research. And because the PhD and the research, it's not related. There are some PhDs who don't do research. There are people without PhD do research. So if you do research and you have better publications, and you will be eligible to become a professor one day. Yeah, we have some lecturers in the Colombo University with a master's, yeah, senior lecturer grade 1. Yes, they can't become a professor because they don't do research. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And the next question is, I think our younger generation is much different than us. They are very multi-talented. So this question is actually stemming to that fact. So if a person has a physics degree, a BSc degree in physics from one institute, and also a BSc degree in chemistry from IChem, would that person have any advantage compared to the others? If so, how?
This is the thing, physics and chemistry, because I also did chemistry, physics, and applied maths, my undergraduate. It's a wonderful combination, don't angry with me, other people, chemistry, physics, applied maths is really it was used to call royal combination, in university. And if you have a physics degree and a chemistry degree, there is no advantage over a chemistry graduate, but you have your inbuilt advantage because you are very good in physics and chemistry both. Yeah. So when you apply for your higher studies, you will be, really, if I get an application, I will be positively looked upon that application, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And the next question is, I'm not sure if you are in a position to answer this question right now. The question is there any declaration right now saying to decrease the number of recruitments as demonstrators in government universities?
Nothing like that. Nothing. Because we have a card, CADA is created. We have I can't remember, we have about 30 demonstrators and assistant lecturers in Colombo University chemistry. We have the same, it has not reduced. Yeah. Yeah, so we have the 34 CADA for chemistry senior people, and that is not reduced here. But the presently recruitments are stalled. We cannot hire new ones at the moment. That doesn't mean that in the future we will go back to the present status. No, it is still there. We will have the CADA. Yeah. Okay. But new recruitments are stopped.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hope I answered the question.
Yes, definitely. I believe so. But if the question was not, if you need a much more broad explanation, please do let us know in the chat option. The next question is, it's not only Sri Lanka, the entire world is facing financial constraints right now. So the question is, can the current economic context affect the scholarships offered by foreign universities as well? What is your opinion on that, sir?
Foreign universities, it depends on the country that you apply. US, especially in UK, it's tough to get a scholarship. That's a known thing. In US, their undergraduate program is dependent on the teaching assistants. So there will be a lot of scholarships because those universities charge from them. Scholarships means that they charge from undergraduate. That money is used to pay our postgraduate students mostly. So I don't think there will be, because if I look at this year, a lot of people got offers. Yeah. I mean, even with the economic recession,
Yes.
from US, many people got offers. Yeah. So that means they are ready to provide you money. Yeah.
And I think the corona had a somewhat of a positive impact in that sense as well. So because for the last 2 years, the recruitments were less. So the funding has been accumulated. So they're looking at funding much higher numbers this time, I guess.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And the next question, so I think this is a very generic question that many of the students have generally. So if a person completes a BSc and then later on completes a master's degree, will the result of results of that person during the bachelor's degree matter right after the MSc?
Again, Lahiru, this is the time period between BSc and MSc is very important. If you do it with a short lapse of time, and it also again depends on what you do for MSc, what results you have. When you have a research paper published in MSc, that will be an advantage. But if you are just a BSc without a class, MSc without a poor GPA, have less opportunity, because all depends on your achievements. Yeah. So there is no proper equation for that. Yeah. For example, our 4G people have gone for PhD, 4-year general 4G program, industry oriented program. Also, we have a program called the normal 4 years is a research oriented. The other 4 years, now we don't have 3-year degree, we have 3-year degrees, 4-year industry oriented degree. That, Vitaksha, who worked with us with Ruchira and Nadika in Slintech, he went for PhD. Yeah. 4G student. Yeah. Not a for normal research student. Yeah. So because he published a paper, he published 2 papers with us. Yeah. 4G program.
So it depends on multiple factors, and if you perform well in whatever the degree that you do, your prospects will be greener, I guess.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So the next question is someone.
That is why that is why counting qualifications will not help you.
Yes. So the next question is somewhat related to a previous answer that you had to mention, but I believe it's a valid question based on our audience today. If someone graduates this year, will there be a restriction to become a demonstrator as the current recruitments are halted?
No. No, current recruitments means the demonstrators are rolling thing. No. Then this year 4th years become when they finish the thesis, they become the demonstrators. They stay there 1 year, it goes off. So there are no new recruitments. That cadre is always, we have 30 or 28, no, I can't remember exactly. That the old 28 will go, other 28 will, it's an obvious question. No, if we don't recruit any one of these, we can't run the program. So don't worry about that. Yeah, we will hire.
So the concern is only about increasing the number of cadre positions?
Increasing number of cadre, yes.
Okay. That answers the question perfectly, sir. And we have taken a lot of your time, sir. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
All the questions in the chat option. But to wrap things up, I think I have one last question from you, sir. I think, as you mentioned in your presentation as well, most of our undergraduates who do chemistry special degrees in Sri Lanka pursue higher studies in overseas. They look for opportunities in other countries, then they go abroad. I mean, everyone looks for greener pastures, as you mentioned. So they go abroad. And unfortunately, however, not many people come back to Sri Lanka. So personally, I mean, it's up to the individual. We can't comment on that. But what do you see as the pros and cons in following higher studies, maybe a master's or a PhD in Sri Lanka versus in a different country? And what is the one last piece of advice that you have to give to all your undergraduates here in Sri Lanka?
It all depends on Lahiru, what you really want. Yeah, we have, for example, you take we have Dhanushi. She never wanted to go abroad. Yeah, she got a super PhD and with us and published many papers, and she's doing very well as an academic member now. Like that. We have a lot of people now. I'm not going to mention names. There are some people who got first classes. They say they don't want to go to US or UK. They want to do a PhD in this thing. This is the thing, Lairu. We all are working to bring this university system to international standard. That is why I don't promote much people. I give recommendations and everything, but we have to bring, like one day Singapore, people will come from outside to Colombo University or the Open University or somewhere, So in that context, we have to change the system to in par with the world. Now we have the drain to other side. It will turn around, because now if you look at the Slintech, you look at the Slintech, it is equivalent to any facility in the world. I mean, if you look at we have foreign visitors come to Slintech, they say you have everything under one roof. So that means, now take our university now, if you have our materials lab or Javardhanpura materials lab, we have all the facilities, I mean, in par with the especially Sri Lanka, all the facilities we can create, but it's all depends on the personal context ultimately, whether they want to do a PhD in a foreign university or the local university. My personal advice also, if you want to go outside and come back, that is good, because you develop your personality. You deal with, that's my personal advice. If you want to go outside and then come back and serve the university, serve a university. That's also a good thing, because you are dynamic. You change. Thinking will be changed. You deal with international community. Still, we don't have an international community. We have to slowly develop that to bring it to international standard. Unfortunately, the successive governments are not supporting that endeavor. We are struggling.
Yeah, thank you for that answer, sir. But set aside the politics, I believe that we have a huge role to play as academics here of our country. So, I mean,
absolutely,
as you mentioned, we need to motivate our younger generation to aspire better things in life. But I mean, the bottom line is, to do higher studies, it should not be, there should not be any limitation. Based on what you want to do, you can do higher studies in Sri Lanka, or perhaps, like the Professor Nalin mentioned, you can go abroad and complete the studies and come back to our motherland to serve our country at some point of time. I believe
one last bit I have to add.
Yes.
Where you qualify is not the factor for you to become successful. It's you. You can be a Cambridge graduate and you don't do anything here, you are unsuccessful. You can be a Colombo, a graduate from Uvavelas University, but you do wonderful things and you become a very successful personality. If you look at the Chad Merkin is one of the best nanotechnologies in the world, but is not from a top-notch university. That's the thing. Yeah, it's all your attributes and your motivation and your drive. Yeah, it's very important. The qualification is one factor.
Very correctly said, sir. Thank you very much for that very nice answer, sir. And I think we have taken a lot of your time. I'm very sorry about it, but I think the audience had a lot of questions and they enjoyed every bit of it, which perfectly reinitiates the idea that we had a correct decision to have you as the first speaker of our series of webinars. So thank you very much for sparing your time, sir.
Thank you, Lairu.
Before we wrap up, I believe that this is the first of the series of webinars, but we have a huge plan for the remaining part of the year. So I would like to now invite Dr. Laksiri Veerasinghe to brief about the second webinar that will take place hopefully over the next month or so. Dr. Laksiri, are you with us?
Yes, Dr. Lairu. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Nalin de Silva again for giving us the perfect opening for this webinar series. Actually, that's the perfect way of, we were looking at the opening this series, and thank you, sir, for giving this excellent seminar for our students. As a lot of questions we got today, I think the next step is obviously guiding them for their higher studies on chemistry. So that's what we were thinking for the next webinar. Focus on the higher studies opportunities, where to apply and what are the things you should do prior to your grad school application, and giving you a better guidance on that will be the next webinar. And we also think about the other factors on the equation. Some people just don't want to do the higher studies. They just wanted to go into the industry and become the industrial chemist without higher degrees, or stay there a few years, then go into the higher studies. So then we should not forget those people also. So third webinar will be focusing on the industrial factors and how to encourage people to move on to that direction. So those are the two. We haven't finalized the speakers yet, but we will inform you timely on those things. So
okay, thank you very much, Dr. Laksiri. So as you have very correctly mentioned, we have a lineup of events under this theme. So please join with us, because I think what we are going to discuss as we go ahead will be very relevant to each and every one of you. So we would like to request all our dear students to be a part of this series of webinars, which will definitely be helpful in shaping you to a better chemist. So before we wind up the event, unfortunately this year, due to the current situation, our interactions have been limited to a virtual platform. So although we did not get to meet in person, as a souvenir, we would like to capture a picture, a screenshot of everyone who had gathered here today. So now I would like to request all of you who have joined with us to turn your cameras on so that we can capture a screenshot to use as a souvenir. Okay, so anyone who is able to turn the camera on, please do so. And we can capture a screenshot real quick. One more. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. So before we wind up, on behalf of SLAAS Section E2, I take this opportunity to thank our speaker, Professor Nalin de Silva, who had taken time off his very, very busy schedule to be here with us today. So thank you very much, Professor Nalin, for being here with us. We believe that you have inspired our younger generation, as you have always had. So therefore, thank you very much for sparing your time to accommodate our requests. So please excuse us for taking a lot of your time. However, we believe that you have been instrumental in facilitating our objective. And as you have done so far, we wish you all the very best to facilitate what you have been doing in the best possible way to inspire many more generations to come, sir. So thank you once again, Professor Nalin. And
thank you, Lairu. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I would also like to thank Dr. Laksiri Veerasinghe and Dr. Imalka Munavira, who had been instrumental in coordinating this webinar series on behalf of SLAAS Section E2. And I would like to thank the rest of my SLAAS Section E2 team as well. But last but not the least, I would like to thank each and every one of you who had been here with us at this webinar. Thank you very much for being here. But as I mentioned to you, there's a lot more that will come as we proceed. So therefore, please join with us in this webinar series, as well as the other activities that we plan through SLAAS Section E2. So join with us and make sure that you take the maximum use of it, because as I mentioned, as academics, we have a huge role to play in aspiring the younger generation, just like all of you who have gathered here today. So therefore, please take the maximum use of it, and we will try our best to deliver in whatever the possible ways. So thank you very much, everyone. We hope you have enjoyed today's webinar, and hopefully we will get to see you again in future as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Lairu. Thank you, Laksiri. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.